With finals week quickly approaching, it is becoming more and more critical to spend your time wisely. In the rush and stress of finals, we often make the same mistakes. Stay tuned to find out what common finals week mistakes to avoid. What's going on, guys? Jay from medschoolinsiders.com. I've been posting regularly on the blog for the last several weeks, so if you haven't checked out the website in a while, take a peek and let me know your thoughts. Also, if you have not already, be sure to check out my prior video on 6 tips for finals week, where I go over good study habits and strategies to maximize your score on test day. In this video, we will instead focus on common mistakes to avoid leading up to and during finals. The first mistake I see far too often is using passive learning rather than active learning. I've gone over the differences in active versus passive learning in earlier videos, such as this one above. The main takeaway is this. During finals week, your time is extremely limited, so when you study, be sure to study effectively and efficiently. It's too easy for us to sit down and decide to study without a clear goal or purpose in mind. What this often leads to is mindless passive studying, which is only a fraction as effective as active studying. So rather than sitting at your desk at 9 a.m. and telling yourself that you will study for the next 4 hours, break down the studying you wish to accomplish into achievable tasks and goals. Examples would be complete practice test number 4, finish 200 Anki cards, or use the Feynman technique to teach a complex concept to a classmate during a small group study session. Rather than passively reading notes or listening to audio recordings, instead make studying an active process with recall tasks like flashcards, doing practice problems, explaining or teaching concepts to others, quizzing your friends, or creating condensed notes. You will retain more information in a shorter period of time and ultimately get a better grade. The next mistake is being disorganized. This closely ties in with the first. I don't mean tidying up your room and color coding your class notes. The organization I'm referring to is with regards to your study schedule. Sometimes you have multiple finals in a single day, or a final and a paper due the same day. If you casually approach studying one subject at a time, you're going to have a bad time. Because of the conflicting nature of exam dates and assignments, it is paramount to create a schedule to plan out how you will allocate your time for each exam as the date approaches. So this is what I would do. I would take a piece of paper and list out the days leading up to each exam. I would then divide the days based on subject and task. So for example, Monday morning may read condensed chapters 3 through 5 notes and complete practice test number 2 under chemistry. And Monday afternoon may read complete 200 Anki cards on central nervous system anatomy and go over complex concepts A, B, and C with study group, all underneath my neuroanatomy course. Don't forget to have blocks of time for errands, mental breaks, and catch-up blocks for when you fall off track, which will very likely happen. There are certain things you have to do every day, like shower, eat, exercise, etc. Use these moments as breaks from studying. Remember, efficiency is the name of the game. So other important things to remember include things like taking 20 seconds every 20 minutes to look at something in the distance to relax the ciliary muscles in your eyes and reduce eye strain. Another one of my favorites is to stay hydrated by keeping a water bottle close by, which has a dual purpose. 1, you're staying hydrated, which has a slew of benefits, but 2, it also forces you to get up and move when you need to use the restroom. The third mistake is something most of us are far too familiar with: procrastination. I'm going to take this moment to introduce my friend, Justin, from Engineering Worth. His channel is similar to Med School Insiders, but it is primarily focused on empowering engineering students. However, it is also like Med School Insiders in that there's something there for everyone, regardless of what type of student you are. So without further ado, here is Justin with more on procrastination.
Thank you, Jay, for allowing me to be on the Med School Insiders channel. So procrastination. This again ties in with the previous point on staying organized. If you approach your studying without a plan, that is without a proper study schedule and organized structure, it's easy to push off studying until later. Creating a schedule for the days leading up to the exam helps you pace yourself and plan out a method of attack. Oftentimes, we don't realize how much we have to study until we actually write it all down on a schedule. Therefore, creating a schedule will be a huge step in the right direction if you have issues with procrastination. There are other tips and tricks you can use as well. Jay made 2 great videos, one on specifically how to beat procrastination and another on how to use the Pomodoro technique, which also happens to be my favorite technique for overcoming procrastination and getting a lot done in a shorter period of time. There will also be links to all these videos in the description below.
The fourth and final mistake is limiting your sleep. If you recall from the first video I created on final exams, all-nighters are rarely ever going to do you any favors. In short, all-nighters make you sluggish during the test and rob you of the benefits of REM sleep. I've spoken about sleep stages and the importance of memory consolidation in this video above. While most of us are not pulling all-nighters regularly, most of us are depriving ourselves of sleep on a nightly basis. I would argue that leading up to and during finals week, there are even fewer reasons that you should be restricting your sleep. Yes, you heard that right. Leading up to finals, you should be getting more sleep, not less. Class tasks and assignments are on the decline, and during finals week, there are generally no classes to attend. If you are sleep deprived leading up to finals week, I can point to one of two things that are the likely culprits. First, you are not using active learning when you study, because active learning is really exhausting. It's extremely challenging to go the whole day using active learning, especially when you start getting tired later in the day. Second, you are not effectively using a schedule to organize your study days and plan of attack. With proper scheduling, you should be able to accomplish a great deal of studying every day while still maintaining enough time for errands and sleep. In short, you're not getting enough sleep because you are not being efficient with your studying or your time. I've said it before and I'll say it again, efficiency is king. Master efficiency and everything else will fall into place. Remember, to consolidate facts into our long-term memory and make them stick in the brain, we need deep sleep and REM sleep. Robbing yourself of sleep is therefore robbing yourself of the hard work you put in while studying. If you study and get a good night's rest, you will remember more than if you had gotten less sleep. If you are still depriving yourself of sleep, check out my video on sleeping smarter, which will help you get higher quality sleep even when you are not getting the recommended 7 to 9 hours. There have been some fascinating studies comparing sleep deprivation to alcohol intoxication. In this study, the researchers demonstrated that after 17 to 19 hours without sleep, performance on some tests was equivalent or worse than a blood alcohol concentration of 0.05%. Response speeds and accuracy were significantly poorer than at this level of alcohol. After longer periods without sleep, performance dropped to the equivalent of a BAC of 0.1%. Another study came to similar conclusions. The scientists demonstrated that moderate levels of fatigue impair performance to an extent equivalent or greater than is currently acceptable for alcohol intoxication. There are more studies coming to similar conclusions, and I will place links to these in the description below. So thanks again, Justin, for helping out with this video. He also created a video to help you out with finals. He actually featured me in that video, so be sure to check it out. I will place a link in the description below. I hope you all found this useful. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you press that like button. New videos every week, so hit subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you guys in that next one.